So, welcome students to the today's lecture. Today we would be talking about ELISA and few more immunological tests that we normally carry out in the diagnostic laboratories. First of all, the main learning objective of this lecture is you will be getting to understand the basic principle of ELISA, what are their types, how these tests can be performed, and how we can go for the detection of whether an antigen or antibody for many disease diagnosis. So starting with it, first is what is ELISA? ELISA, it basically stands for enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So as the name suggests, enzyme linked, that means in this very technique, the incorporation of some enzyme is being happening, due to which we are basically diagnosing the antigen, or we are basically going for the diagnosis of many diseases by the detection of antigen. This term of ELISA, it was coined by Engvall and Perlman in the year 1971, in which they, devised this technique that this can be used for the detection as well as quantification of several antigens as well as antibodies. The point is, we can detect the antigen, that whether this very serum or this very sample is infected with some particular kind of bacteria or viral infection, or we can also quantify that how much concentration of antigen or antibody is present. So this technique is both qualitative as well as quantitative. There are different types to it, like indirect, direct, competitive, sandwich ELISA we call it as. Basic concept is, what we can do, we are basically adding an antibody to which antigen is being attached, then we are adding a detection antibody, then we are linking one enzyme to the secondary antibody so that we can prepare its secondary antibody conjugate. And when this secondary antibody conjugate is binding to the already prepared antigen antibody complex, it will impart certain signal in the presence of substrate by using some color formation or by the formation of some specific products. So all of these things then can be detected to quantify that very thing, to quantify that very antigen. So these immunological tests, that means we can conjugate an enzyme to secondary antibody that can react with a specific substrate so that a colored reaction or colored result is being observed. This is the most sensitive test if you want to go for the detection of antigen and antibody. However, there are many variations, as I told you, because we can go for both qualitative as well as quantitative testing. Qualitative means we can observe it, we can visually observe it. Quantitative means we go for the detection of concentration. So it is a very sensitive technique for it. We can either use this technique for the qualitative or quantitative detection of either antigen or antibody. That means both things can be detected. However, for this we need to draw a standard curve. Standard curve means, suppose you are going to, estimate the concentration of antigen. In that case, we have to first of all take different concentration of that antigen or antibody or antigen antibody complex, so that we shall have a standard curve whenever we estimate the, value of, or you can say the absorbance of the antigen or antibody from the serum. We can basically infer the concentration depending upon that standard curve. So standard curve is always plotted based upon the known concentration of either antigen or antibody, and we can determine the unknown concentration. There are three types: indirect, sandwich, and competitive. So we'll be discussing each of these methods one by one. First is indirect. That means this is not a direct estimation method. We basically go for a method that is indirect, in which what we can do, we can detect the presence of antibodies. Either we can detect or we can quantify by using this very technique. However, in this case, what we have to do, serum or any sample that is, suspected to have a particular type of antibody, that is added to the antigen coated microtiter well. Because whenever you are performing an ELISA technique, you need a microtiter plate. In each well of that microtiter plate, first of all, you have to coat that thing with an antigen. As you can see, this is a microtiter well, and here these pink color are showing antigens. That means this complete well is coated by antigen. Once this antigen is coated over it, it is present in the bound form. We will be first of all adding an specific antibody. Specific antibody means if you are using this technique for some diagnosis work, in that case we will be adding the serum of patient. So here the serum is added, serum or primary antibody is added. If that antibody is specific, it will bind to that antigen. Once this first step is complete, we give it a wash. After any free antibody one is washed away, the presence of antibody that is still bound to that antigen, that can be detecting by adding a secondary antibody. But that secondary antibody is conjugated with some sort of enzyme. As you can see, free secondary antibody is added, and here E is written. That means it is enzyme conjugated. This enzyme conjugated antibody is added. After that, again give it a wash so that unbound or excess of antibodies can be removed. Once those unbound or excess antibodies are removed, the next we will add the substrate. That substrate is basically specific for the enzyme. So once we will add the substrate over here, substrate, that substrate will react with an enzyme, and if that enzyme is conjugated to it, it will start producing a colored reaction, and that colored reaction is basically further measured by spectrophotometric or microtiter plate readers, or you can say at the specific wavelength the absorbance is noted down, and we have already created a standard curve. We can plot that absorbance value of unknown sample or serum sample onto that plot, and we can infer the unknown concentration of antigen or antibody that is present in the sample. So this is quite very simple test. However, there are few steps. As you can see, this is an animated part in which an antigen is already layered. This is a microtiter well. This This is a microtiter well. These green colored are antigen onto which primary antibody, or you can say the sample already has been layered. After that, we are adding this secondary antibody conjugated with enzyme. This is enzyme linked antibody. It is being attached, and once you have added the substrate, the colored reaction can be obtained. So this was all about indirect ELISA technique. Our next important point is sandwich ELISA. Now you must be wondering why it is known as sandwich ELISA. Sandwich ELISA, why we call it as, because in this technique antigen is not immobilized onto the microtiter well. However, an antibody is immobilized, or an antibody is layered onto the microtiter well. After that, we add the antigen, or you can say we add the serum. If the particular viral antigen is present, it will attach to this antibody. After that, for the detection, we will be adding a secondary antibody conjugated with enzyme. So such kind of sandwich thing is being observed. That is why we call it as sandwich ELISA. So basically the process is, with in this case, first, if this is the microtiter well, the first step is to coat the well with antibodies. As you can see, antibodies are coated. After that, give it a wash so that unbound antibodies can be removed, so that non-specific binding shall not be there. After that, you need to add the sample, either a serum or if you have the antigen. A sample containing the antigen is added, and it is allowed to react with the already bound antibody for some time. After that, again give it a wash so that the unbound antigen can be washed away. So the antigen that is present in the bound form, it will appear something like this. After that, we can add the secondary antibody, which is conjugated with an enzyme. And if it is specific for this very antigen and antibody, it will recognize the epitope and it will attach over here. It will react with it. After adding this sandwich-like appearance is coming. We will again giving it a wash so that unbound secondary antibodies can be removed. The last step is adding the substrate. Once you have added the substrate, it will react with an enzyme and it will result in the colored product formation. And that colored product, we can note down the absorbance of that very colored product by using some micro titer plate reader. Depending upon the intensity of color developed, you can even infer the the concentration of antigen present in the sample also. This is again an animation. As you can see in this animation here, antibody is already immobilized onto which sample is added. After that, an enzyme linked antibody, that is secondary antibody, is being added so that it can give a reaction. Onto this process is done. Next, when you add the salt solution or when you add the substrate, because of this, the color will develop. As you can see, color blue color selection is being changed to yellow. This colored product basically, which is showing that yes, the specific binding has happened. Type of ELISA is competitive ELISA. In this very technique, as the name suggests, there must be some sort of competition. So in this technique, we first of all incubate the antibody in a solution in which the sample containing antigen is added. That means we will incubate the specific antibody with the patient serum. Once you have incubated it, if the antigen is specific, it will form a complex. So once this antigen antibody complex is formed, or you can say an immunocomplex is formed, this antigen antibody mixture, from this very step, it will be added to a microtiter well. From this, the antigen coated microtiter well, when you add this antigen antibody mixture, if the more antigen is present in the sample, the less free antibody will be available, because all the antigen will migrate to the their binding site and they will attach onto the variable region of the antibodies. So once they have added, after that we will add the secondary antibody linked with enzymes. Again, give it a wash and add the substrate. You will be able to observe the color. However, in this case, higher the concentration of antigen, more is the color. So, having talked about these three types one by one, this is complete comparative of all these techniques. In the indirect ELISA, the microtiter wells are antigen coated. However, in the sandwich ELISA, we coat the wells with antibody. And in case of competitive ELISA, we first of all incubate the antibody with the antigen to be measured. In case of indirect, then you add the primary antibody, then secondary antibody linked with enzyme, then you add the substrate. However, in all these three types, the last two steps remains the same. That is addition of secondary antibody linked with enzyme and substrate solution. The only difference is between the first step and second step. Now there are certain other immunological based tests also that we normally routinely performed in our laboratories. One is Western blot. However, it is normally we use this technique to identify specific proteins that are present in the mixture. However, the first step in this very technique, if you want to go for this, the first step is performance of SDS page, in which SDS treated protein mixtures are first of all loaded onto the SDS gel. The protein mixture is separated depending upon their molecular weight. Once they have been separated, as you can see, this is the protein antigens that are denatured by using SDS, that is sodium dodecyl sulfate. It is a detergent. After you have treated these proteins with this detergent, you will add this mixture into this vertical gel, SDS polyacrylamide gel. So once you have carried out or performed this complete experiment, you would be able to get, you will be able to separate these proteins depending upon their molecular weight. Once this process is done, then these separated proteins are transferred from gel to membrane. This is a porous membrane sheet, yellow one. We will be transferring these separated proteins onto this gel, onto this membrane. These membrane will now be having the complete fingerprint of proteins. After that, the specific antigen of interest would be incubated with this, or you can say the enzyme linked antibodies would be incubated with these membrane, and if that antibody is specific to a particular protein antigen, it will bound to that place. After that, you again have to add protein solution, substrate solution, and where this antibody onto the membrane, it has bind to the protein antigen, it will give a colored reaction, as you can see, depending upon its specificity. However, we use these tests normally. For example, in case of ELISA, we use ELISA test for the diagnosis of dengue, for typhoid. We are using these tests routinely in our, immunological based laboratories and biochemistry based laboratories, so as to infer that whether the infection is there or not. For example, for the HIV detection also, we go for ELISA test. Next is immunoprecipitation. However, this is quite a very quick and sensitive test for finding different proteins and antigen, especially if they are present in very low concentration. In that case, if you have a cell extract or sample, in that case, you need to add specific antibody. As you can see, this is the specific antibody. This is the antigen against which this was specific. Once you have added, these antibodies will bind to these antigen. However, we can use special support system of beads. You can use glass beads, you can use magnetic beads. As you can see in the second picture, magnetic beads are also incorporated. Now this secondary antibody, for the visualization, when it is added, it is coupled with certain magnetic beads. Once these beads coupled with the secondary antibody, they attach to this specific antibody that is bind with the specific antigen. After that, if, as you can see, this is complete present in the bound form, this is also present in the bound form. Once you apply the magnetic field to the side of this test tube, under the influence of magnetism, this complete magnetic bead coupled with the antibody that is binding with some antigen, it will, move towards one direction, and you can rinse off rest of the material and you can collect these complexes. So this is known as, basically we are precipitating these antigen antibody complexes. Next is immunofluorescence. This is also a very quick method for the identification of pathogen and lymphocytes, in which, as the name suggests, the fluorescence, that means we couple these, in this the antibodies are conjugated with a fluorescent dye. We can use fluorescein, rhodamin, phycoerythrin, and if the antibodies, they are bound to specific antigen, they will illuminate under the influence of UV light. They will give fluorescence. They will emit bright colors of longer intensity. They are absorbing the light of longer intensity and emitting the light of shorter wavelength. There are currently two main methods, direct and indirect staining methods. As you can see, this is the direct method. Direct method with fluoroform labeled antibody to membrane bound antigen. This is the antigen. This is the primary antibody which is linked with the fluorophore. And once the cell membrane, this is the cell membrane with antigen. That means, first of all, if the antigens are present, when you, try to bind a primary antibody with the fluorophore, this would be the complete product. And it will eliminate and it will emit fluorescence under the influence of UV light. This is an indirect method. In this case, a secondary anti-isotype antibody coupled with the fluorophore is added, in which, as you can see, this is the primary antibody specific to this very antigen. This is the antigen. This is the primary antibody, and the secondary antibody is added. So basically, the direct elimination or direct fluorescence is not happening. It is basically triggering the indirect method because we are using secondary antibody. That means if you are coupling an antigen onto the cell membrane and directly incubating with an antibody that is bound to a fluorophore, that is known as direct method. If you are coupling an antigen onto a cell membrane onto which a primary antibody is added, and after that you are adding the secondary antibody coupled with the fluorophore, that method is known as indirect. However, in certain cases, in the case of indirect, we can also use certain proteins, carrier proteins that are coupled with the fluorophore for the detection of the fluorescence in case we do not want to use the secondary antibody. So that is a very important point in direct and indirect immunofluorescence that we normally carry out. However, these tests are very useful for the detection of autoimmune disorders. In case of we have talked about anti-nuclear antibody test, ANA test, ANCA test. All of these tests can be performed by using this immunofluorescence technique also. Along with that, there are many other disorders that can be detected, many other diseases that can be diagnosed by these immunofluorescence or flow cytometry techniques. Thank you so much for listening.